and boom goes the dynamite.
Welcome back to another edition of Daily Dive, the only Monday through Friday live lacrosse talk show. I'm your host, Michael Karvelis. For everyone on the West Coast, good morning, and for everyone on the East Coast, good afternoon. It's time for lunch. On today's show, our top story will be the Bandits won the game of the year, and I have another proclamation to make as well for that game. We'll also talk about how the Rochester Nighthawks were able to clinch against the Georgia Swarm in a game that I said would happen. Our Fanatics segment will be the PLL All-Star Game is in Louisville, Kentucky. We'll see how the fans are feeling as I put out a poll on Daily Dive Lax on social media. And our last brew, presented by B-Res Coffee Company, will be our 3 stars of the weekend, along with the league has reached 1 million fans in 2023, and we'll get to those darn attendances as well. So our top story presented by the Daily Dive store. When you go to Daily Dive, Lax on social media, check out the link tree, and there you'll see the Our Store tab. Click it and get the best in merchandise with this logo on it. That's right. When you go there, click the Our Store tab. We have hoodies, shirts, beanies, mugs, all with this logo. Support the show as we try to grow the game. Well, let's get right into it. The Buffalo Bandits won possibly the game of the year, and dare I say, was it the best game ever for the NLL? I'm telling you guys, I have followed lacrosse for a few years now and really heavily on the NLL the last year and a half. I pick up on things a lot, and this game was the best game I've seen. I know there's people love the old physical 90s and 2000s, kind of like NBA fans love the 80s basketball. But in this game, it was so electric. The fans, first of all, the atmosphere itself, Buffalo Bandits fans are absolutely awesome. I cannot say the same for Bills fans, although they're probably the same people. But Buffalo Bandits fans were absolutely engaged this entire game. It felt like a Golden State Warriors game when you're watching the NBA. It was that awesome and electric. So that's the first thing. Number 2, the physicality was amazing. Like Dane Smith, to me, and I'll touch on this point a little bit later, set the tone early, just grabbing those loose balls. Steve Priolo threw Mitch DeSnoo to the ground and beat the snot out of him. Had to be pried off by number 30 of the referees. And then you saw Steve Priolo at the end get a roughing call because he took a cheap shot. I did not like that, but it was a fantastic game. And even the call by Brendan Glasheen, along with Mitch Belisle, if you watch that final 50-second clip, you will not be disappointed. It felt that way the entire game. And the fact the Bandits tried to take a long shot to kind of pad the lead, and then they almost gave up the tying goal anyways, and the total was set at 22.5. We have the under here on Daily Dive. Holy cow, that was an impressive game. But I want to get to the point I was trying to make earlier. Dane Smith, to me, made an MVP statement in this game. Now, if you look at the stats of this game for Dane Smith, he did have a Bandits leading 7 points with 2 goals and 5 assists. However, the thing that stuck out to me the most, 7 loose balls and 2 caused turnovers. When I tell you those things were so important, if you watch that game on ESPN Plus or TSN Plus and watch it all the way through, you will see very early Dane Smith takes the early shots. Even after the shots miss, Dane Smith goes swiping away at the rock. The refs let them play a lot, and Dane Smith took full advantage. I also want to give a shout-out to Jehoga Nanaco, who was also very impressive in this game as well. And I thought in terms of the goalie matchup, Graham Perreault, who we will have on the show tomorrow, sneak peek there, has said this, and I thought it summed up perfectly the goalie matchup in this game. So, this is from Graham Perreault. Let me make sure I get this. I may have it on my other accounts. Hope I retweet on do it. Nick Rose outplayed Matt Vince tonight, but Vince was unbeatable in the final 30 seconds, which made all the difference. That to me was the absolute perfect way to sum up that game. Nick Rose was awesome, turned back a lot of shots that probably should have gone through on other goalies. Matt Vince started strong, had a slow kind of second and third quarters, but in the fourth quarter, when he absolutely needed to turn it on, when he said, when we heard during the game from Miller, or Miller 24/7 time on Twitter, Ashley Miller maybe, she said that Matt Vince was very locked into this game. He said, I've had games that happened before when we were like 17-8, and he was very excited for this game, and he lived up to the billing. Yes, it is actually live. But it was absolutely insane watching this game. I was so happy seeing, again, if you have ESPN Plus or TSN Plus, I highly recommend checking this game out. It was absolutely phenomenal from start to finish. You will not miss a beat. You won't even want to grab popcorn and use the bathroom like, oh my gosh, is the game back on yet? It was that electric, and I give the Buffalo fans, the Bandits, and the Toronto Rock all the credit in the world. Again, was it the best game ever? I'll let you decide that. But let's get to our next thing here. Rochester Nighthawks have clinched a spot in the National Lacrosse League playoffs. And once again, I told you guys, it was one of the games I got right this week. I think I was like 4-3 in my picks this week and like 3-4 in bets, where maybe the other way around. I knew we were 2-1 in the best bets. So that's what I was very happy about. But I think I was 3-4 on the straight up picks. Had a strong finish. It was fun. But Rochester Nighthawks, in fact, did you know that Connor Fields in this game? And Connor Fields was great. Connor Fields was peppering the net. But with 14 loose ball recoveries, that's right, 14 loose ball recoveries for Connor Fields of the Rochester Nighthawks, he's the first player since 2008 to record more than 100 points and 130 loose balls. The only other player in NLL history to reach both marks in a single season was John Tavares. Wow. I don't know how that works. Okay, so interesting. I don't know how that works, but hey, is he the best player in the NLL? Because I remind you guys, I said that Connor Fields was the best player in the National Lacrosse League. I was crucified, and rightfully so, maybe. But I'm telling you, Connor Fields is not a bad player. He's very awesome. He has a nice twitch, can pass the ball, can score the ball. But my big thing is the loose ball recoveries. What Dane Smith did in the Bandits game is what Connor Fields does every single game for the Rochester Nighthawks. Absolutely awesome. Now, then again, Rylan Hartley was great. Rylan Hartley had to turn away some nice shots as well from Lyle Thompson and the like. But in the end, Rochester got the win. And they flirted with giving it away. But Rochester got a big win, and I was very happy to see myself be right on that one. But we're not done with this episode of Daily Dive. When I come back, we're talking the PLL. And it's not about Paul Rabel this time. Wow. Okay, so we're going to talk PLL All-Star Game in Louisville, Kentucky. Good spot, bad spot, maybe. We'll be right back. Daily Dive won't go anywhere. Welcome back to our Fanatics segment presented by Fanatics. When you go to the link tree in our bios and click the Fanatics link, you can shop all the awesome merchandise from all sports, especially the National Lacrosse League. And when you check out and pay for an awesome set of merchandise, whether it be a jersey, a shirt, a hat, whatever you want, check it out. It gives us credit, and for that, we thank you so much. It's Daily Dive and Fanatics, but here is where we're going to get to in this segment. It's the All-Star Game for the PLL. Okay, so there it is right there, the graphic for them. I did not make this, obviously. 2023 PLL All-Star Game in Louisville, Kentucky at Dr. Mark and Cindy Lynn Stadium. So, I have a poll up on the Daily Dive Lax Twitter page and Instagram story as well. What is your thoughts on this location? Is it good? Is it like great? Is it good? Is it okay? Or is it just bad? Now, if you say okay or bad, you're kind of like skeptical, and like bad is like, oh my gosh, no way. Great is like, oh, this is totally going to work. And good is like, oh, okay, cool. But I just want to get you guys' thoughts on that. So far, one person has said great, one has said okay, and one has said bad on Twitter. As for Instagram on Daily Dive Lax, let's check that out real quick. So far, I do not know. Oh, come on, thing. On Instagram, we don't have any votes yet. Again, check it out, Instagram and Twitter with the poll right there. But I'm going to try to talk more PLL as the season kind of rolls on here. I know NLL is in full swing without being too punny there. But I do want to, because these guys that play in the NLL are the same stars that play in this game. So I just want to get that out the way. Shout out to the PLL. We're going to Louisville, Kentucky. There were some thoughts on this game. In fact, I'll get to the Twitter thoughts on this as well, because I thought some of the comments were interesting here. It's already got 5 replies, not bad. Someone said LOL where, for lack of a better term. Someone said boo, bring the All-Star game back to Atlanta. There's 24 quotes on this Joker too, which is insane. Let's go. This might be the trip to make. Bourbon and lacrosse. Let's have a weekend. I think the original people to say bourbon and lacrosse was a podcast, actually. The Barstool Louisville page, so this is pretty awesome news for you lacrosse fans out there. And I'm telling you guys, lacrosse is growing exponentially. I've noticed it on social media. It's growing a lot more, not just because my algorithm is saying so, because I've actually seen people care about it. I know Barstool Sports was a podcast that I think absolutely stinks, by the way, but I'll leave that for another day. But no, PLL All-Star Game in Louisville again. I will try to talk more of that in the future on this show. Again, we've only got like 6 weeks left on the Daily Dive for the season 1. This will be primarily NLL talk. But if I can plug some PLL stuff, if you guys like, go to Daily Dive Lax on Twitter or Instagram. Let me know in the DMs. Let me know in the comments. Say, hey, talk about this performance in this game. Talk about how this team was upset. I'm all for sports, especially lacrosse, on Daily Dive, so check it out. I want to touch on some other things as well. I want to give a shout out to the Albany Firewolves, who again almost won a game. Like, they have had, like, the last 3 games for Albany have been so close. And the Philadelphia Wings beat them in overtime. So shout out to Philadelphia. Philadelphia was vulnerable, man. I know it's on the road, but Philadelphia to Albany is not that hard to go to. I mean, it's not like, you're going out of your way to get to that game. So I thought that was interesting that Philadelphia had such a problem with them. Doug Jameson did his best. But Zach Higgins, I think, had 54 saves for the Philadelphia Wings. And I've told you guys for a good while now, I felt like the Albany Firewolves' young core was starting to step it up. And Marshall Palace had an insane goal as well. And also, just to let you know, Chase Fraser had a great goal as well in the Buffalo Bandits game, which I did not get to. Chase Fraser made number 3 on the U.S. SportsCenter Top 10, not just TSN, the U.S. SportsCenter Top 10, where he went between the legs. It was absolutely insane. But so many great goals, so many great games this year, and we have been all here for it again. So, and that's why I kind of want to talk PLL, because I feel like the PLL is so, like, I don't like field lacrosse, although it's what I first watched when I watched lacrosse. But I can kind of get down with PLL if I have to. Again, if you guys want to hear me talk about it, let me know in the comments. Let me know on Twitter. Let me know on Instagram as well. Or on Facebook, for crying out loud. Hey, when I come back, it's the Last Brew presented by Beer's Coffee Company. We're talking 3 stars of the weekend and also those NLL attendances, which I know you will definitely want to look at. How we passed 1 million fans. No, that'll be interesting. We'll be right back. It's time for our last brew presented by B-Rez Company. Code Daily Dive. Search BREZ on social media or on the website. B-Rez Coffee Company. Use code Daily Dive at checkouts to help us to support the show once again. So, wow, let's get to our 3 stars of the weekend. Are you ready? Woo! Our number 1. Let's do Dane Smith of the Buffalo Bandits in what was possibly the game of the year. Dane Smith, I believe, set the tone early. I know we had 7 points to lead the team, and I know people are going to go in all about Matt Vince. The Hogan Anacote being back was great as well, Josh Byrne. But to me, Dane Smith made another MVP statement in the game for the Buffalo Bandits. Number 2, the second star of the weekend is going to go to Zach Higgins of the Philadelphia Wings, who had 54 saves in a road game against Albany in a game that, to be honest, Albany almost had. It almost upset them, but Zach Higgins settled down and was stinking freaking awesome. And our final star of the weekend, this one was tough because it could have gone multiple different ways, but we're going to go with Randy Stotts for keeping Halifax alive as well. They played the Riptide, and to be fair, the Riptide did not look great. I keep telling you guys, Jeff Teat has these disappearing acts. I don't know how he does it, but Randy Stotts had 4 goals, and it was pretty much a way to put the Riptide away very early in that game. Okay, so again, 3 stars of the weekend. Dane Smith for setting the tone early. Zach Higgins for keeping the Wings alive. And, of course, Randy Stotts in the Halifax Thunderbirds. A lot of offense in that game. All right, so are you guys ready for the NLL attendances this week? Okay, this is great. So here they are on the bottom of the screen. Buffalo at 16,000. I predicted 17,005. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. We also got Saskatchewan with 10,781. As Lane Rushka could have also won a star of the weekend. Halifax at 10,000 plus 8 people. Rochester 5,577. San Diego Seals at 4,092 as they clinched the West. Albany at 3,107. And Panther City at 3,063. I want to get to Albany because I want to get those lying punks. And here's what I'm going to say about this. Here is why you will kind of wonder, well, Michael, why are you harping on those Albany Firewolves? Does it seem a bit coincidental to you guys that the lacrosse hotbed of like Albany, there's multiple videos and camera angles that show that the last game of the weekend between Albany and Philadelphia was very, very, very scarce. It's not just because of the fact that it's lacrosse. It's because of the fact that it's the New York Rangers playing hockey. It's New Jersey Devils, New York Islanders, New York Yankees, New York Mets. You may tell me we got 3,107. Somebody commented it might have been 500. And I lean more towards 1,000 than I do 3,000. Listen, I know this is cute. We have been the ones reporting the attendances, the specific attendances for every team every single week. This right here, I think all year long, especially if you look at Georgia Swarm, I'll be honest, they were not 9,000 people at that game, but guess what they said after I went to that game? There was 9,000 people. Baloney. That's a lie. I could have counted them if I wanted to, but I didn't do it. But it was not 9,000. Okay, this stuff makes me mad because as great as this is, they might have had a bunch of fans the most since 2008, and I understand that. But I cannot get down if the reporting is so grimy and slimy. I cannot get down with that. It is not honest reporting, and it's not really media doing it. It's more of the people of the stadium doing it, and I don't respect that. I don't care if one guy bought 55 tickets. That's not right. If there were not 9,000 people in Georgia, if there were not 3,000 people going through those gates, you cannot tell me that there was 3,000 people there. It's just not true. So take this again. This looks good. It probably was the most since 2008. But it's no coincidence the first year they're on ESPN Plus, suddenly that gives them 1 million fans in attendance. I don't agree with that. I cannot get down. It is dishonest reporting. As a person who strives to be part of the media, again, I cannot get down with that. I really wish it was true. But you have ESPN Plus, you have Disney Plus, you have TSN Plus, you see the games on national television. It's not true. And it hurts. But it's not true. I'll say it. And if anyone wants to come on the show and disagree with me or come in the comments to disagree, shoot me a DM. I don't care if the NLL shoots me a DM. I don't believe that. I'm not ever going to jeopardize my credibility for something like that just because it looks good. Okay, I'm sorry. Our poll on Daily Dive Lax Twitter page, 2 people now say great, and there's 1 okay and 1 bad. We know what you think about the PLL All-Star Game in Louisville, Kentucky this season. Are you going? How you feeling? Is it a good spot? Should it have been in like New York, or do you like the spot? Those fans are loyal. I don't mind that at all. I think Los Angeles, you might not got anybody to show up. So I like Louisville, Kentucky for me. That's it for Daily Dive today. Again, the attendances are rolling across the bottom of your screen. Tomorrow we will have Graham Perot. We also have more guests scheduled for this week, so tune in all week long on Daily Dive. Hope you enjoy Week 21. Tomorrow we'll also get to those Seals who locked up the number 1 seed in the Western Conference despite being a bit inconsistent. And we'll talk about playoffs as the season rolls on as well. There's one more regular season week left. I cannot wait to get to that as well this week. I'm going to stop talking. You guys have a great rest of your day. For everybody that takes part in this show, like the awesome guests and behind the scenes, I am Michael Karvelis saying have a great rest of your day. See you tomorrow, bright and early, noon Eastern. Bye.